Hello, good morning students. This is the lecture number 5 of accounts, and we are completing up to 30 points of accounting terminology. See, nowadays I think you don't see these all the video lectures seriously. Please do this because this is continue with more than 1 or 2 months again. So we have to study like this in video lecture. See, statistics is very interesting subject because it is a practical subject. Here in practical subjects we have to do the theory because first of all we know about the terminology. That's why we are doing right now here now, but in the next week we are starting with the practical one. Okay, so here now we complete up to 30. You all see that, you all read that. Now we are starting with the next point, that is 31, debtors. See here, I am giving one example that Ramesh, a person, sold goods to Naresh, right? But Naresh didn't pay right now any amount because he has a credit into the market, and Ramesh know that very well because into the market he has a credit, right? He has a goodwill, and that's why he give a goods or sold a goods to him on the credit base. It is a credit sales in which Naresh give the promise to pay the amount in after 5, 10 or 15 days. Okay, so he will become a debtors of Ramesh. Naresh, here the person who are purchasing the goods, here the person who are selling the goods. So the person, that is Naresh, in account whatever the honor is done here, the first one is we are taking as owner of the business, and see, we are writing accounts in the books of Ramesh. Here the person Ramesh is the owner of the business, and we are writing the books of accounts, that is all the accounts in the books of Ramesh. So we have to concentrate that what Ramesh will do here into the business. Okay, so here Ramesh selling the goods to Naresh on credit basis, right? So Naresh will become a debtors for Ramesh. So in the books of Ramesh we have to write that Naresh is the debtors because he is purchasing the goods from us for on credit, right? So now I'm reading that on 31, debtors, when a businessman sells goods on credit to his own customers, those customers are called as debtors. See, first one Naresh, then Ramesh sold the goods to Paresh, then sold the goods to Harish. See, these all are called debtors, right? So here the debtors means all the customers who are purchasing the goods from us on credit basis, or we can say I am the sold the goods to the persons on the credit basis. That persons or that customers is debtors for me. Here all these person Harish, Naresh, Paresh are the debtors for the Ramesh. See, right? So it is very easy. Now customers becomes a debtor of that amount for which goods is sold on credit, right? Debtors are treated as a current asset. See, it is our current assets. Whenever we want, we can call a debtor to pay the money, right? And that is our current assets because it will convert into cash immediately. It is, we can say, it is a liquid assets also. Whatever the amount we can convert into the, whatever the assets we can convert into the cash, that is called current assets, right? And whatever amount immediately converted into cash, that is called a liquid assets. Here, if the 10 days credit is given by us to the debtors, but whenever we want the money, we can call him and say that I want the money in 5 days, because the promise is for 10 days, but we want the money in 5 days, then he will give us in 5 days the full amount. That is called a liquid assets. Whenever we want, we convert the assets into the cash, that is called a liquid assets, and these all the debtors are called a liquid, or you can say current assets. Okay, now the next point is very important, that is bills receivable. What is bills receivable first? Bills receivable is a written document where there are two parties, one is the bill writer and other is the bill acceptor, where bill writer acquires right to receive certain amount as per the predetermined date. In the future, it becomes a bills receivable. See, in Gujarati, one poem, if you heard that, I'm singing right now that Mari Hundi Swikaro Maharajare Sambala Girdhari. This is a song also, and this is a poem of your Gujarati subject. See, the word hundi, that is called a bills receivable. Okay, I explain you the full procedure of that. See, first of all, Ramesh sold the goods. Again, the same example, on credit to Naresh, right? Now Naresh gave a 10 days promise. Then after 10 days, I am giving you the full amount of your goods. Okay. Now Ramesh goes to the Naresh after 10 days and asked for the money. And Naresh said that I have no money right now. I want 1 month or 2 month time extra again. Okay. So then what? See, 5, 10 days, 15 days is okay. But 1 month, 2 month, 3 months credit is maybe it is not a regular basis. So the Ramesh said that I am writing a bill, I am writing a cheat to you that you have to pay me so and so amount on so and so date. Yes, okay, and you have to sign it. Then Naresh agree about that. Yes, I am signing that and I am giving you that particular amount on that particular day, whatever you are writing after 1 or 2 months. So now Ramesh write a bill, that is called a bills receivable, that Naresh has to pay rupees, suppose say goods of 5,000 or 50,000, right? So Ramesh write a note that Naresh has to pay rupees 50,000 after 2 months on this day, and Naresh sign on it. That is called a bills receivable. After 2 months, whatever amount is there, Ramesh see Naresh to the bills receivable, and Naresh paid the amount immediately. This is the procedure of bills receivable. Now see, I am reading again. Bills receivable is a written document. See, Ramesh writing that document to on the Naresh, right? Where there are two parties, that is Naresh and Ramesh. One is bill writer, here bill writer is Ramesh, and the other is bill acceptor. This one is the accept the bill, that's why signing the bill, that means he accept all these things, all the condition written on the bill, that Naresh accepting. Okay, he is the acceptor of the bill, where bill writer acquires right to receive certain amount as per the predetermined date. See, he is writing a date, after 2 months on so and so date, I want so and so money, that is I want 50,000 rupees, that is you have to pay me, and Naresh accept it and sign. Okay, it becomes a receivable. Bill is a bill receivable for the bill writer. See, this bill is a bills receivable for Ramesh. Ramesh has to receive the amount from Naresh. That's why this bill, this cheat is a bills receivable for Ramesh, and that only bills receivable is bills payable for Naresh. See here he has to receive the money in future. That's why that bill is called a bills receivable, and he has to pay this bill in future. That's why this bill again it is called a bills payable to the Naresh. Okay. In this written document, bill acceptor accept the written responsibility to pay specified amount on the maturity date. Fixed amount, that is 50,000 on maturity date, that is after 2 months. Whatever date is fixed, he has to pay the money on that date. Generally, bills receivable emerge from the debtors. Generally, not generally, but regularly, bills receivable emerges from debtors only. Accommodation bills are also popular in the practice. See, accommodation bill is a new topic, and it is covered in the second chapter, that is bills receivable, that is receivable, bills receivable, or all the hundis, etc. So we are knowing about that into that second part. Accommodation bills are also popular in the practice. In this regard, detailed discussion is made in the separate chapters, right? In the second part. Okay. Now the next point is receivables. What is that? Any amount to be received by the businessman, that is not only a credit given to a customer, credit sales sold to a customer, that is not only a amount received by the customer, but also any of the amount received by the customer, that is any amount received by the businessman in the future from any person or any persons is known as receivable. Whatever amount is received and whatever amount is not received, it is here called a receivable. Any amount to be received by a businessman in the future from any person or persons is known as receivables. Debtors and bills receivable are included in receivable. See, debtors as well as what? The bills receivable, both. First of all, debtors. Naresh, Ramesh, Paresh, all the debtors are included in receivable, as well as all the bills receivable emerging from the debtors, that is also we are including in receivable. In short, all these things, that is receivables, means first one is debtors and the second one is bills receivable. See, these bills receivable is also emerges from the debtors. That's why both are included in receivables. In the other receivables, commission outstanding, rent outstanding, interest outstanding, whatever amount is outstanding. See the third part. Whatever amount outstanding from any of the person, that is rent outstanding, commission outstanding, discount outstanding, whatever amount we have to receive from any of the person, that is again called a receivables. So receivable means debtors plus bills receivable, which are also emerges from the debtors, and any amount outstanding to taken from any of the person, that is also called a receivables, right? Etc. are the included. Loan, advances, etc. are also included in it. If I am giving a loan, see, I am not taking a loan. If I am giving a loan to any of the person, then it is also called a receivable. If I am giving an advance, see, I am purchasing the goods from same party, from one party always, right? But if at the one time, if I am paying in advance some money, I am giving a rupees 50,000 as in advance, that whenever the goods are come, you have to sold me. Yeah, this is my booking amount, right? So I am paying the 50,000 in advance. That is also called receivable for me. Whatever amount received in the future by me, that is called a receivable for me. Okay, now see the receivable chart. Debtors, one thing, second one receivable, third one outstanding incomes, and the fourth one prepaid expenses. All are included in receivable. This is the chart. What is prepaid expenses? If you are recharging your mobile, that is also a receivable for you. Okay, that is called a prepaid expenses. Okay, now the next word, that is 34 is creditors. See, the creditor as a businessman does credit sales, in the same way he undertakes credit purchases. Whatever, see here, for on the side of the Ramesh, now we have to concentrate Naresh. What is this? Now this is the owner of the business, same, and now we are writing accounts in the books of Naresh. Now concentrate on this person. Whenever we are concentrate on this person, whenever we are writing in the books of this person, that what is the which activity is done by this person, that is he is selling the goods on credit to Naresh. That's why in the books of Ramesh we are writing sales, right? And Naresh become a debtors for Ramesh, right? Now we are concentrating on this side. This is the person, this is the owner of the business, and writing the accounts in the books of Naresh right now. So on the basis of this, we have to concentrate on this. He is what? He is purchasing the goods. He is not selling the goods. Now see here. Now we have to concentrate on him. That is, he is purchasing the goods on credit. Naresh is purchasing the goods on credit. That's why Ramesh is become a creditor. See, he has to give amount in future about the purchase. Then Ramesh is become creditor for Naresh. He is here. He is become debtor. And now for Naresh, Ramesh is become a creditor, right? See the cycle. For Ramesh, Naresh is the debtor. For Naresh, Ramesh is creditor, right? So here an businessman does credit sales, in the same way he undertakes the credit purchase. A person from whom goods are purchased on credit, that particular person becomes a creditor of a businessman. See here, Ramesh become a creditor for the businessman. A trader becomes creditor of the businessman for that amount for which goods are purchased on credit. So the creditors are treated as current liability. See, the debtors is become a current asset. That is, anytime we want a money, then a person call the person, or that is the debtor, to give the money and convert that into cash immediately. As same way, this is the current liability. See, Naresh has to pay Ramesh any time. See, there is the credit of 10 to 15 days. But if Ramesh called to the Naresh to give the money, then Naresh has to pay any time at that immediately to the Ramesh. That's why it is a current liability. What is current liability? Whatever amount you have to pay in a very near future, that is called a current liability, right? So Naresh has to pay Ramesh amount of purchase on any time, that's why it is become a current liability for Naresh, right? Okay. Now see, bills payable. I told you here, whatever is the bills receivable for Ramesh writing a bill on Naresh, that's why it is a bills receivable for him, for Ramesh. And now here see one thing. See the relation between these two persons. Here, Ramesh sold the goods. See that? Ramesh sold the goods. Here the arrow is there. Ramesh sold the goods on credit to Naresh, so Naresh will become a debtors, and for Ramesh writing a bill, that's why for Ramesh it is a bills receivable. This is the relation of sales, then debtors, then receivable, bills receivable, right? First one, Ramesh are selling the goods to Naresh, so first entry is for sales. Then second entry, if Naresh not pay any amount immediately, then he will become a debtor, so it is the second entry. And if after 10 or 15 days he also not giving any amount, and he will give a promise to pay the amount in next future, that is 2 or 3 months, then Ramesh write a bill, that is called a bills receivable, that is the third entry. On the contrary, see, it is all these things are writing in the books of Ramesh. Now, on the basis of Naresh, see, he is purchasing the goods on credit first, right? And he is not pay any amount, that is on credit. That's why first of all he will become a creditor, and then he will give a promise, that is accepting the bills given by Ramesh. That's why he has to pay a bills receivable in next future. That's why here it is for him current assets. For Ramesh, Naresh is debtors, that's why current assets. And for Naresh, Ramesh is a bills payable or creditor, that's why it is a current liability, right? See the chart and writing the chart in your books, in your example book. See, I am explaining here right now the next one, that is, the continue creditor. As businessman does credit sales, in the same way he undertakes credit purchase. A person from whom goods are purchased on credit, that particular person becomes creditor of the business. a trader becomes creditor of the business for that amount for which goods are purchased on credit, right? So creditors treated as current liability. Here the creditors, that is Ramesh, is treated as a current liability. Now bills payable, the next one. Bills payable is a written document where there are two parties, bill writer and the bills acceptor, same way as bills receivable, right? Okay, where bills acceptor accept the responsibility to pay certain amount as per the predetermined date in the future, it becomes a payable, right? Here Naresh is giving a promise to pay a predetermined amount, that is 50,000 to Ramesh, then it is become a payable, right? It becomes a payable. In this return, bill acceptor accept the written responsibility to pay the specified amount on specified date. Here Ramesh writing a bill and Naresh is accepting by signing that particular bill. Okay, in the case of bills payable, bill acceptor pays the amount written on the bill to the bill writer on maturity date. Generally, bills payable emerges from the creditors. See, bills receivable emerges from debtors as well as bills payable emerges from creditors, right? Okay, now the last one is here payables. For this chart, see, any amount to be paid by the business person in the future to any person or any persons is known as payables, right? See, whatever amount paid in future or right now is by the person, that is called a payables. Creditors and bills payable are included in payables just as receivable. Here the next word is payable. In the receivable, debtors, bills receivable, outstanding income and prepaid expenses are included. Here see the next chart. What is the payables? Creditors, bills payable, outstanding expenses. See, I have to pay rent in future, I have to pay discount in future, I have to pay commission in the future. Whatever amount I have to pay in the future, that is outstanding expenses, is my payables, right? And income received in advance is it also my payables. What is that? See, income received in advance. See, I have to receive 5,000 commission into after 3 months, but I am receiving right now in advance whatever amount received as an income in advance, that is also a payable for me, because anytime he can ask about that particular amount. Whatever amount given in advance by the person as an income to me, then they can ask for any time before that particular maturity. He can ask me about the particular amount and I have to pay that immediately to him, refund. That is called a payable. That's why it is called a payable. See, creditors or bills payable are included in the payables. In other payables, outstanding salary, outstanding wages, any expensing outstanding, pre-received income are included. Pre-received incomes are one kind of liability. All the expenses, all these payables are the current liabilities. There can be long-term liabilities which are discussed hereafter. There can be a long-term liability. What is that? Whenever you are, see, in the current receivable, loan is given. I am giving the example of loan. Whatever loan I am giving, whatever advance I am giving to any person, that is called a receivable. As well as here, whatever amount taken as a loan or taken as an advance, that is also called a payable. See, if I am taking a loan for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months or 1 year, or you can say less than 1 year, then it is called a current liability. But if I am taking a loan for more than 1 year, that is for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? So it is called a long-term liability and it is also called a payables, right? So the next word is cost. 37. cost. What is the cost now? See, first of all, write down this chart and then I will continue with the next point. Okay, now continue with the next point, that is cost. To produce any product or to provide any service, whatever expenses are required, the sum of these expenses is cost. What is cost? To produce any product, that is for the production of this particular item, whatever I have to pay to the raw material department, whatever I have to pay the worker, whatever I have to pay for the service, that is machineries and all these things, that is called a cost of that particular item, right? So this, see, on the any item MRP is given, maximum retail price. Maximum retail price means what? You have to sell these on this price only. That is, see, the maximum retail price of these is say 40 rupees, right? And the cost price, so the preparation price, the production price of this particular item is 15 rupees. So what is, say, 15 and 40? That is called a margin, that is called a profit. So whatever amount I have to pay to produce this particular product, that is called a cost, right? So to produce any product or to provide any services, see, if you have to take a service of a doctor, right, you have to pay 500 rupees for him, then what is this? This is called a cost for your illness, right? So here, to produce any product or to provide any services, whatever expenses are required, the sum of these expenses is cost, right? Okay. Now generally in cost, raw material cost, labor cost and other costs are included. See, I am giving you the example that for to produce this one, first one is raw material cost. We have to purchase some raw material to produce this. Then I have to pay the wages, that is labor cost, and then other cost, that is electricity, machineries, all these things cost, that included, that sum of that particular all the expenses is called a cost for the particular item. Okay, now the next word is voucher. What is that? Voucher is a written document of the business transaction. See, what is voucher? This is, in a simple word, it is a bill. Whenever you are purchasing the goods from any of the person and he will give you a bill, that is called a voucher. But whenever you are going to a tea stall and you are taking a tea, then what is that? You are paying rupees 10 rupees to the tea stall, then what? He is not giving you a bill for 10 rupees. And if I want to write that particular expense into my books of accounts, then I am writing a voucher. What is that? See here, a type of transaction is determined on the basis of voucher. Which type of transactions is done, that is shown in the voucher. A type of transactions like cash transaction, credit transactions, purchase transactions, sales transactions, transaction with bank, expenses transactions, income transactions. See, all these transactions, whatever writing, see, I am taking a bill, then it is a purchase transactions. If I am giving a bill, then it is a sale transactions. If I am giving a expenses of tea and fresheners, that is what? That is the expenses of freshmen, and that is also a voucher. I am writing a voucher for that. Assets transactions. See, if I am receiving or if I am depositing any amount to the bank and I am giving a return slip, then that is also a voucher for me, right? Liability transactions also, etc. All the transactions, and whatever transactions are written on the different types of documents, different types of pages, that is called a different vouchers. All are called vouchers, are determined from voucher. After deciding the types of the transactions are recorded in the books of accounting according to the rules of accounts. Whatever you are writing, see, if it is expenses, you have to write as expenses and you have to follow the rule for the expenses. If you are purchasing the assets, then you have to follow the rules of assets. If you are paying the liability, then you have to follow the rule of liability. For all types of accounts, there are some rules, right? And we have to follow that rules by deciding, by seeing the voucher, which type of transactions is there. On the basis of voucher, first of all, we decide that which type of transaction is there, and then we can apply the types of accounts, and then we can apply the rules for the particular types of accounts, and then we can write into the books of accounts, right? So this is the basic document. Voucher is the basic document for the books of accounts. If voucher is not there, then we cannot write any accounts, because it is a proof of our business. Voucher is, you can say, a proof of our business. I am purchasing, I am selling, I am depositing an amount, I am taking some amount, I am purchasing an assets. Whatever transactions I am done through the business, I have a voucher, I have a bill, and that is my proof for the business that I am doing a business. This is my proof. These bills, these vouchers are my proof of my business. Okay. The next one is discount. What is discount? First of all, see, this is the simple word. We all know about this word, but we have to know the accounting term for this word. Emergence of discount is from purchase sales. See, if I am purchasing the goods of 50,000 and say that I have to pay, I want 10% discount from the seller, and seller say, okay, I will give you a 10% discount. That means what? For 50,000 goods I am purchasing, but I have to pay only 45,000. 50,000 minus 10%, that is 5,000, and that's why I have to pay 45,000, and that particular remaining 5,000 is my discount. See, discount for purchaser, it is an income. Discount for seller, it is an expenses, right? Now see here, many times from total amount of the purchase or sales, as per the conditions, certain amount is deducted and net amount is paid. I told you the example, 50,000 is the net amount, 50,000 is the total amount of purchase as well as sales, but at the time of payment, purchaser required 10% discount, seller gives him, and net amount 45,000 is given by the purchaser to the seller, then it is called a 5,000 rupees discount. The amount which is deducted from the total amount is known as discount. 50,000 minus 5,000, that is net 45,000. So 5,000 is called a discount. Out of the total amount of purchase, sales, and the amount which is procured or deducted is known as discount. Okay. These are two main types of discount. See, there are two main types of discount. See here. There are two main types of discount. First one is trade discount and the second one is cash discount. Trade discount and cash discount, right? See, it is not recorded, only calculated in the books of accounts, and it is calculated as well as deducted, or you can say recorded in the books of accounts. What is trade discount? See, a purchaser or you can say a manufacturer is sold the goods to a wholesaler, then he will give him, that is a manufacturer give a discount to a wholesaler, that is called a trade discount. See, it is a business relationship discount and it is confirmed that it is 10% always, right? 10%, 20%, whatever amount is that, but it is for the business relationship, right? So here I am reading that trade discount at the time of sales, a business person deducts certain percentage of amount from sales price. It is known as trade discount, right? And trade discount is not recorded in the books of accounts. See here, it is not recorded, right? Trade discount, it is the trade discount. The trade discount is not recorded in the books. Assume that the goods worth rupees 10,000 sold at 2% trade discount. See, in this case from the selling price 10% after deducting 2%, that is 200. Sales of 9,800 will recorded in books of account. So here whatever amount is there, main amount is say 10,000 less 2% is the trade discount. 2% of this is 200 rupees. 2% of this is 200 rupees. That's why we have to record this amount only. That is, I am purchasing the goods of 9,800, not 10,000, because the trade discount only deducted, you can say only calculated, not recorded. Here 200 is not recorded in the books of account. Directly 9,800 is recorded in the books of account as a purchase, right? So you have to concentrate only on this amount and you have to write this amount as a purchase, or you can say you sales also, right? Okay, now cash discount. What is cash discount? To attract the customer. See now, customer, that is wholesaler attract the retailer, or retailer attract the regular retail customer, right? To attract the customer with the purpose to receive a quick collection on credit sales. The amount which is deducted from the receivable amount is known as cash discount. See, wholesaler give the these goods to retail person, the retailer, right? Trader, retail trader, right? So on the basis of credit, but they give a condition that if you are paying this amount in 5 days or in 10 days, so the difference, the credit period is 1 month, 2 months, okay, 1 or 2 months, right? But they give a condition that the wholesaler give the condition to retail trader that if he gives these rupees in 10 days, then he will give a 5% discount, cash discount on this amount. See the example here, cash discount is recorded in the books. Cash discount is recorded in the books. After deducting of the trade discount, cash discount is determined. See now, here the example. See, I am purchasing the goods of 10,000, then 2% trade discount. So ultimately the amount is 9,800. But now on 9,800, I am receiving a 10%. See, a 10% cash discount. This is CD, cash discount. So it is 980. 10% of this is 980. So I have to pay 8,820 net. So it is called a cash discount. and we have to write these both in our books of accounts. We don't have to write these. We don't have to write these. We have to write only these three. That is here, these three. I am purchasing the goods of not 10,000. First of all, deduct 2% as a trade discount. So I am purchasing the goods of 9,000. That is my purchase. Here it is my cash discount, and here whatever amount, that is I have to pay rupees 8,820 to the person, to the creditor, right? So here after deduction of the trade discount, cash discount is determined as above stated in A. If 200 as discount is allowed on 9,800, customer would pay 9,600 to supplier. If on next 9,800, if next 200 is cash discount again, then he has to pay rupees 9,600 to the supplier. Thus 200 will treated as a cash discount. Here 980 is treated as a cash discount, and this discount is allowed at the time of collection of cash. Thus it is called a cash discount. Okay, and the last one, that is discount received and discount allowed. But see, this we will discuss in our next lecture. I am concluding here my lecture, and see, what is your homework? You have to write up to 39 points in your example books, and as well as these all charts and all these things in your example book, and you have to read again and again, and you have to see all this video again and again, and you can understand all these things. And the next point is you have to read again 40 to 46 points in the next point. So next terminology 40 to 46 point you have to read again. Okay, and in the next lecture we are complete this chapter. Okay, so here it is over. So thank you class.